In a significant development today, the US Securities and Exchange Commission's order to seal former SEC functionary William Hinman's email drafts in the Ripple case has been dismissed. These documents are considered crucial in determining regulatory bias against Ripple and XRP, raising concerns about potential corruption within the SEC. Something here at Cheeky Crypto we've been talking about for quite some time. The attention surrounding these email drafts has been steadily growing, as they have been seen as a secondary narrative running parallel to the legal proceedings. The Commission's reluctance to disclose these documents led to speculation that the SEC might settle the entire case with Ripple to avoid their public release. So it's a turning point for the SEC and Ripple, and particularly this particular lawsuit for cryptocurrencies. I think this is going to be a pretty big deal across the board. The unfolding of events began in April 2022 when Judge 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗃 ordered the SEC to hand over an email containing a draft of William Hinman's speech. This order was seen as a positive step forward. Since then, these emails have become a focal point in the battle between SEC and Ripple. The case entered a heated and contentious stage in July when Judge 𝗕𝗫𝗀𝗃 repraised the SEC for concealing certain facts, ultimately rejecting the claims to keep Hinman's documents confidential. So in a significant interim victory, Judge Torres later decided to provide Ripple with William Hinman's internal emails. Upon receiving the documents, Ripple's general counsel, Stuart Aldertree, if I can't say his name, apologies for that, expressed satisfaction with the outcome, furthering his perception of the SEC. So despite facing many setbacks, the SEC persisted in its attempts to seal the documents and was basically granted permission to edit some of them. However, it has now been revealed that the SEC's main demand to seal the documents has not been met, indicating that the controversial emails may soon be in the public hands, and that's going to be really, really interesting across the board. Now, moving on from this kind of idea here is that we've seen Brad Garlinghouse say that he is incredibly bullish about the company's trajectory as the cryptocurrency industry emerges from a crypto winter, which I think is a little bit ahead of time. I don't think we're really coming out just yet. We'll see whether this winter is going to continue a little bit more. But, we've seen a little bit of positivity recently, but I'm not too comfortable just yet. There might be another, storm brewing in the background. Now, he emphasizes that the company's daily vision, which includes focusing on the long-term potential of cryptocurrency utility and teaming up with like-minded individuals. So coming out of and to quote him, coming out of one of the coldest crypto winters yet, I'm incredibly bullish about Ripple's trajectory. Each day, we're thinking about the long-term opportunity of crypto utility, putting our minds behind that mission and partnering with folks who share that vision. Now, Brad Garlinghouse tweeted this, and this is basically responding to the news that the business of Ripple and their most recent acquisition, which basically, if I bring this up for me to kind of just give you the kind of top level stuff, 𝗕𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗀, hopefully I'm saying that right, acquisition will allow Ripple to offer institutional clients additional services such as custody, issue, and settlement of tokenized assets. Soon after the news, the XRP price jumped, and we're going to talk about that. We can see kind of on the chart right here, by over 6%, moving above 45 cents. The $250 million acquisition will allow Ripple to work with top clients across various different industries. Now, essentially, and I kind of spoke about this on the podcast this morning, this is going to allow, as I kind of hinted at there, institutional players to allow Ripple to basically deal with all the tokenized assets and settle with them. So this is going to make it even easier for onboarding large institutional players that want to kind of do large settlements across continents and cross borders without really having to get their hands too much on the actual crypto side of it. They can kind of keep things to how they've been used to working, only it's going to be so much faster and so much more affordable. So I do think this is a big milestone. This is not something that is going to be a small kind of insignificant thing on the radar of Ripple. This is a big move that is basically allowing Ripple to be more custodians over the tokenized assets and potentially fiat as well in making those settlements. I think this is going to be really, really interesting. This is expanding the reach in a $1 billion European market, essentially. So 𝗕𝗘𝗪𝗧, hopefully I'm saying that right, the acquisition for $250 million by Ripple, I think is a fantastic move, and that is going to really further what Ripple is trying to do with cross-border payments using tokenized assets such as XRP. So I think this is going to be quite an interesting thing to kind of see kind of what unfolds here over the coming months. Now, kind of furthering on in the ongoing legal issues between Ripple and obviously the SEC, or more specifically the SEC and Ripple, the countdown has begun for the unsealing of summary judgment documents. So according to a tweet by James K. Fallon, following the court's order dated on September 12th, 2022, the concerned parties have a window of 21 days to file public redacted versions of these critical documents. The due date for the submission is slated to be June the 6th. Now, we don't take that as a kind of be all and end all. We've seen the SEC stonewalling and delaying all various different dates that have come up in the past. So don't be surprised if there's a motion to extend or any kind of nonsense like that. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how this stuff works overall, but June the 6th is a date that I think a lot of people are going to be focusing in on, but I'm not going to hold my breath. I've seen what's been going on in this case so far. The regulatory agency alleges that Ripple sold unregistered securities, and obviously Ripple is saying, actually, no, it's a cryptocurrency, not a security, very much like Bitcoin and Ethereum. Hence, the Hinman emails are very, very critical to this case. And of course, there's also fair notice and all that kind of stuff as well. In terms of price action, after the news here of the Hinman emails being released, we can see that we did have a push to the upside here. 15% over the last few days, but this isn't anything unusual. For the last few days, weeks or so, I've been saying that we're expecting a move to the upside on XRP. We were kind of poised and waiting to go. The opposite is now true. Okay, so now we kind of have a bit of a delay, a bit of a wait, a bit of kind of dragging your heels. I'm expecting reversals from here, unfortunately. I'm expecting us to move back down after this move to the upside. We haven't quite reached what we needed to, and we have been rejected on our equilibrium. You can kind of see that right in here. So although we were expecting a more significant surge to the upside, potentially pushing up more towards that 58-cent range, it looks like our trend line and our parallel channel still remains true. And what I mean by this is we had the high here, we tested it here, we've tested it right now on equilibrium, and it looks like we're getting rejected. This is obvious when we take a look at our trend line, but more compounded when time we actually take a look at our stochastic RSIs, also indicating there's lack of momentum pushing this price to the upside, specifically on that 8-hour and daily charts. This is a daily chart, and we can see that there's definitely problems here when it comes to this price action. So what would we expect? What's the next thing to expect? Well, if we're finding that this parallel channel has the resistances, then we're going to be looking for support on this lower range as well. So the expectations are probably going to have to come down more towards this green buy order block down here. With that being said, though, it's possible that we shift this momentum around depending on what goes on with the SEC versus Ripple, and actually there's this order block right inside here that could potentially take us up into some of those sell order blocks. Ultimately, I think it's all to play for here on XRP. Taking a look at everything that's been going on in here, I still think there's more room to the upside to be had, but unfortunately, I think we have to move down first. So we're going to be looking for a small correction minimum, probably potentially even just testing the midline just down here. This would put us somewhere around that kind of 41 to 42 cent range, and then potentially get a break above this trend. Once we get a break above this trend line and close above the equilibrium, I think it's only fair to be going for that fair value gap and the imbalance in the order book that was left behind here, and maybe attack that higher sell order block there. It's also possible that we attack the weaker high, which is right at the top there. This one's coming in at about 58.5 cent. And again, we are looking at that as a true potential move for XRP. It just looks like we have to first of all correct a few things to the downside first. If I zoom out of this for a fraction a little bit further, you can of course see that we are still in a bullish structure. That has not changed. We had our change of character over here. This was September 2022. We confirmed that this is still the case over here in January of 2023, and we confirmed again just over here on the 21st of March 2023. So for the most part, we are still in our bullish structure. That has not deviated and has not changed. One of the things that we are kind of concerned with here is that we have a three-wave correction right here. We kind of have ourselves a W, X, Y, X, and Z, in my opinion, right in here. But, you know, that could be something else as well. So there's a few different things that could be that's going on. But for the most part, it looks like we kind of finished this move to the downside. Although what's happened right now is giving me a little bit of ground for concern. And this essentially is that the fact that our momentum is shifting around the way that it has done. On the hourly, it still looks pretty good. On the 4 hourly, it's okay. It's not the best. The concerns are really on the 8-hour, 12-hour, 16-hour, 20-hour daily chart. Okay, and if I go to the weekly here, it's not too bad, but it could also do with a bit of a correction anyway. So all in all, I am a little bit concerned about what the price action might, or what might happen to the price action if we have a bit of a delay when it comes to the SEC versus Ripple and the kind of fundamental things that are happening there. So although it's been great that we've seen a little bit of green in the market for XRP, this wasn't unusual. This was something that we were expecting. We just needed a little bit of fuel on the fire to get things going. And it doesn't look like there's been a lot of fuel to really get this one launched just yet. So expecting a cool off and then another run to the upside. And hopefully we'll break out of this parallel channel and we'll get that break that we need to the upside and attack that 58.5 cent range, and then hopefully go after the 60 to 65 cent targets after that. But ultimately, I think it's all to play for. All eyes are on the SEC versus Ripple and what is going on there. Let me know what your thoughts are down in the comments down below. Do you think Ripple will win? Do you think the SEC will win? Do you think it will be settlement? Let me know. Really interested to canvass everyone's thoughts and opinions. If you found this useful, informative, smash the like button. I do appreciate that. If you're new to the channel, then why not subscribe? And guys, I'll catch you all in the next one.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All other videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.